What would you like to ask Cleo? Why did you start this business 23 years ago?
Why did I start?
Why did you?
Why did I start this? I worked in another store and just didn't like the way things were going. Didn't like the quality of fabric and decided I couldn't work there, so I quit.
Oh, and to be sure that that's.
Yeah, is that in the 23 years?
That was before. No.
So that plus.
She's
23
worked at
years.
several stores before that.
She couldn't hold a job. So she has no, but nobody would hire you. So the real story comes out.
She did.
So on June 1st, what was it like to open up a quilt store?
Scary, but exciting. I did a soft opening. I just said, we'll open June 1st. Didn't advertise, didn't really say a lot other than word of mouth, and people said, oh, there'll be days when nobody will darken your door. It's okay, don't worry about it, you know, it'll happen. Never happened. First day we had people in, we were busy, and blizzards, we had people in. Days when we were closed, because there's a blizzard, stores are closed. People were in. Now there's a blizzard coming. Remember that winter blizzard every weekend? They stopped in for fabric because you don't have anything to work on at home. Then they go to the grocery store. And then they were set for the weekend.
Do you remember who your first customer was?
I do.
Who was it?
Jim LeDuc. They have lamps and shades, and it was in the space we took over. We helped them move out so they could move in. And he came in that first morning and he bought some notions and stuff, and he said, now give me that $1 back, I want to swap out. And he framed the first $1 I ever made.
That's the one that's in the hallway.
It's in the hallway. Steve wanted to get rid of it. Can we get rid of this? And I said, no, that's the first $1 I ever made. So, yeah, that was the first $1 I ever made.
How many bolts of fabric did you start out with?
350.
Whoa.
That was a lot. That was a lot. The cupboards were pretty empty out there because Gary built them all, and we have added more since then. But we filled it with batting and little vignettes and little quilts and things, just to kind of fill up the space and make it not look so bare.
That's true.
While we waited for everything else to come.
Oh, sure. Good. Now you had quilting and what else?
Needlepoint.
Needlepoint.
Yep. And then we brought in sewing machines. And then we decided it was just too much to do it all, so went just to machines, which was a perfect fit.
Do you remember the first class you taught? At the new store?
This store?
No, not that store. Your store.
My store.
Your store.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't. We were teaching all the time. We were always doing over-the-counter. We called them OTCs. You know, we did it a lot. Marilyn remembers.
Oh, Marilyn! Yes, Marilyn was an employee.
Yeah.
Marilyn, good.
Any other former employees here?
We had one.
We've had them all
earlier.
sessions. And, you know, we'd teach them how to do pillowcases from day one. We were teaching pillowcases for wedding gifts and shower gifts and graduation gifts and the tea towel pillow wraps with pictures. And we just did it all the time. So, I mean, we were teaching from day one. That's we were. It's kind of crazy.
Did you have rotary cutters back then?
I'm a snacker.
It was a long time ago.
Travel machine.
You were on the
machine. Yes, we had rotary cutters. They'd only been out for a couple of years.
Okay. So
They were for other things first, and then Eleanor Burns brought them into
yes,
quilting.
she was kind of the hot author. At
She
that
was the
time.
hot one. Yep, we did a lot of Eleanor Burns quilt and day classes. Yep, that was the big thing.
How many employees over all the years?
20 to 25. Some only lasted a really short time because it was too hard to work. They didn't realize they had to work.
Oh.
They didn't get to quilt all day. They had to clean.
You don't get to quilt all day here?
No.
Oh.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have people that wanted to come and work for us so they could learn to quilt. I said, kind of like being a secretary and not knowing shorthand. I don't think so. You want to take a class from somebody? No.
Oh, no. How much per yard was fabric back then?
Muslin was about $3.50 a yard.
Well, that's not a bad difference between now and
for
then.
23 years.
No?
And that was muslin. You know, it went up to like $5.99 a yard. But really, in 23 years, that's not huge appreciation compared
And regular
to a lot of other stuff.
quilting fabrics and things. I mean, really.
It's not too bad.
Tell us about the first quilt market you attended.
It was kind of like Jill going to this last quilt market.
Yes.
She went with us, and quilt market now is huge compared to what it was then, and I was overwhelmed. at the first quilt market. Oh my, what do we buy? What's going to sell? What are these people going to want? And I brought home a pattern with me, and I bought 6 of them. 6 patterns home. And I was like, are they going to sell? Please sell. And I mean, we'd ordered other things too, but that's what we brought home. And I started cutting out the pieces, had laid on the table, and I thought, I'll work on it on slow times. Well, it took, 8 weeks or so to get it made. The little pieces, but it was a great teaching tool. I could teach people how to do a lot of different cuts and how-tos and fit things together and get 1/4-inch seams, and pretty soon I was calling back and I'd order a dozen patterns to ship me. And then I was ordering 4 dozen, and then I ordered like 6 and 8 dozen of the same pattern. And that first pattern paid for my first quilt market.
Who was it through?
Four Corners Designs.
Yeah, they're still.
Yeah, they're still in business.
It's
Yes.
kind of like when we call Atkinson Designs.
Yes.
We're like,
Hi Kirk, it's Cleo. Can you send me? Yeah, no problem. We're good.
and then buying fabric back then versus now. I mean, how would you pick out from a line of fabric?
We have to realize that back then, bolts were like 20 yards on a bolt, and now we can get 10s and 15s. So when you looked at a line and it was 30 pieces, you couldn't buy the whole thing and have money left over to buy other stuff. So we would pick and choose. I would do the core and go this way and still have a good story. But now I can just say, I'll take that line and that line and that line and get the whole thing. And, it's still like before. You still have to know that there's people that will like it. I can't be the only one that's going to take it home.
You know, Cleo talks about when she buys a line of fabric. Oh, so-and-so will like this. And so, yep, I can name.
Yep.
You're like, she's like naming your names. And she really knows your style. Yeah, you're flashing through. But yes, when you have a look that you tend to always buy, she will name you when she sees a line that reminds her of you. But now we just buy it all, so the whole line.
The whole line, yeah, we don't.
No,
We'd like to buy it all.
Yeah. No,
But
we
couldn't get
insulate
in the
with
store,
fabric,
yeah.
but we don't actually. Yeah,
Yeah, if you come in the wintertime and you pull a bolt off the wall, it's cold on the back side.
yes,
It's
because that's the
great
north
insulation.
side. If you've ever done that.
If you have a storage closet on your outside wall, fill it with fabric. Tell your husband you're saving him money.
Is that the new story?
My new sewing room will have a closet on the northeast corner.
Oh, it was planned. Yay for the new sewing room coming. When you called Steve to see if he was coming back to the business, how'd that all transpire?
Yeah, we were visiting one night on the phone. They were in Oklahoma, and I said, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because I was doing it pretty much alone. I had great employees, but they're part-time. Nobody's here all day, all night, all day, all night, all week long, 6 days. And, other than a few, nobody wants to do the dishes or clean the bathroom or, that sort of stuff, or scrub the carpets. And so Gary had a full-time job, and then he'd come here for a full-time job. And I said, I don't think I can do it much longer. I think I have to be done. I'm exhausted. And 2 nights later, he called and he said, don't close the store. We think we want to come. You want to come? When? Well, we have, let's talk a little more. So, another week or so. And he said, I think we really want to come. We want to move back home. Home for Steve in the cold. For a California girl in the snow. Okay, all right. When? Well, we have commitments. Sarah had a commitment in Australia that she had to finish for Bernina, and Steve was helping to design a machine, and he had to carry through that. Okay. When? It was a year from the time they said, just give us a chance. And I said, okay. Are you coming? So they got here, and then it was like, I'm having some help. It was great, but it was a year. It was kind of a tough.
See, I don't remember the year. I think Steve was talking to you without me knowing. Calling his mom. Mom,
I gotta go home.
how are we gonna get Sarah back?
Steve was always kind of the revolving door. He'd do something, then he'd come home, and he'd do something, he'd come home, and then he brought baggage, you know. And they moved home one day, and she was at work the next day. That's the way it is, Sarah, sorry.
Well, it's, again, because somebody asked earlier, like, when did we move to this building? And that was about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
It's just a blur.
Did you ever think that you'd still be doing this after 23 years?
I didn't think I'd make 5.
And here you are.
And then it was 5 and 7, and I'm like, oh, we made 5. Oh, let's try for 10. Oh, we made 10. Let's try a little more. So somebody asked this morning if I was going to make another 23. I said, you realize I'll be over 80.
That's a long time.
Edna's 80. So the question
I'm sorry?
Edna says, what's the problem with
Edna, who just celebrated her 80th birthday and is still, she was here all day today. Good. Anybody else have some questions for Cleo?
Yes.
Have you always quilted? Did you learn
Always.
as a child?
I found a book in my mother's cedar chest when I was 10, and I made a quilt for my cousin who was, you know, brand new. So I started when I was 10. So I always say I've been quilting since dirt was new. Went through all the how-tos, all the sandpaper templates before rotary cutting. Thank you very much. I am that old. And you know, all the not knowing that there were 1/4-inch seams and not knowing that you didn't do 5/8-inch seams because I was garment construction first. You know, trying to make a Lone Star. The pieces were like this big, and I did 5/8-inch seams. I had more on the back than I had on the front. It was really
And was it polyester?
No, at that time it was cotton, but in the 70s it was almost impossible to find cotton fabric. Really tough, really tough. And I just refused to do the polyester. Yes.
How did you start designing your own patterns?
I think that came because people were trying to find a certain design and couldn't find it. And they'd say, this is what I want to do, and I can't figure it out. So my math teachers would be rolling the fact that I do this sort of thing because math and me were like, yeah, not good. But, you know, it's quilting. It makes sense. So, and I just wanted to be originals. I wanted to teach classes where I didn't have to worry about copyright infringement. And I didn't want to teach some semblance of somebody else's quilt. I wanted to teach my own. So that's how I got into it.
So knowing now what you know, would you open a quilt store?
Yeah.
You would.
How else could I have more fabric?
That's a good answer. Yes, and it is kind of hard when your hobby turns into your profession. If you know what we're talking about, that always is a stretch. It is. So we don't always get to sew like we think we do, but
it's amazing how much we get done in spite of it.
Because we're under pressure.
That too. Or just because, you know, who needs sleep?
Oh, well, maybe that's my problem. I think I need to sleep.
Really?
No? Okay.
Okay. I don't know. 2 in the morning is a pretty good time to sew.
Well, and she shows up this morning. She's like, well, this fabric just came in yesterday, which I wasn't here, and she was telling me, and there's a sample here for it already.
Well,
So.
it's pretty simple.
Well, yeah, but... Ask her what her favorite color is.
Green.
Well, what do you like green in?
Money, grass.
Now, if you come in and pick out a green quilt, she will help you.
But Judene's really better at it.
It's kind of an inside joke when somebody, I want to make a green quilt.
So what is your favorite color? You didn't say.
Pink.
Pink. I wondered.
What was the highlight for Quilt Market this time around? Anything that jumped out at you that you saw?
I would have had to ask Jill that.
Okay.
Because,
You just had to try to control her.
yeah.
Because she
Yeah,
was spending your
Jill.
money.
Everything was new to her, and she was excited, and she was all organized, and, you know, she had new shoes and new clothes. And new organizer, and everything listed, and printouts, and, you know, and I'm like, okay, we'll take that and that. Wait a minute. We gotta get this, and what was that? I gotta write that down. Got it, boys.
They'll ship it to us, which, by the way, we have lots to show you from Quilt Market.
Yes,
so.
we do. So
right.
brace yourselves. It's lots of fun.
Good.
And
Thank
more
you.
coming. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks to all of you.